Oh, we're live, boys and girls. It is February 8th. Is it? Yes, it is. 2021. So I'm 25,000. What is that? Was it 500? No, it was 601 days old today. I even forgot how old I am.
Which is a sign of aging.
It is. It's a serious fucking sign of aging. Yeah. And as Leo pointed out, I am old. Hey kids, I don't know if do any of you remember Kennedy's assassination?
I was born about a month, almost 2 months after his assassination.
Do you remember it? Where were you?
I was in my mama's belly.
Oh.
And I don't know where they were then.
And I wasn't even born yet.
I don't remember it. I was in civics class in 7th grade, I think. Yeah, and he was. The interesting thing is, my friends and I, who were, kind of like, I don't know, kind of like hillbillies for the Iron Range. We all, when Kennedy got elected, kids were so taken by Kennedy that we were 9 years old, and we had this magnetic wipe, like a magnetic board that you stuck letters on. You remember? I don't know if you remember those, Scott.
But, and felt boards where you put little pictures and letters on.
And we kept track of the election against Nixon and Kennedy, because we were so excited for Kennedy to be elected. And when Kennedy was elected, the youth of America for the first time actually got like the president. We got involved with him, and he was like the most powerful leader I think we had in maybe at least 30 or 40 years. He was amazing. And when he got assassinated, for 3 days it rained. I remember it rained. They sent us home from school, and for 3 days, everybody in America just watched the TV and just absolute grief and shock and mourning. And it was just the most powerful thing. It was like the world had gone dark. It was just unbelievable. So he really had an effect. He really horribly affected it. Because he just drew us together in such a wonderful way. The whole country was excited at that time. Something else. Contrast that with the Orange Smurf.
Did you see any T-Rexes back in the day as well, or
T-Rex?
Jesus Christ!
No, we had in Minnesota. We had killed them all.
Okay.
Yeah, and yeah, and then now you can get up there as a good deer or something. You can't get any T-Rex anymore. We killed them all. We are responsible for the extinction of T-Rex.
Just a random fun fact, just because. Did you guys know that T-Rex lived closer to humans than it did to Stegosaurus? That's how kind of wide the dinosaur era was. So,
now they're telling me that thing had feathers. Is that true?
Huh?
They're telling me that thing had feathers. Is that true?
The evidence is inconclusive at this point, I think.
Yeah. I refuse to believe it, even if it was conclusive. I have a childhood image or concept of a T-Rex. It's not changing. I'm sorry.
That would be so embarrassing.
Childhood image is incorrect.
Yeah. That would be so embarrassing for the T-Rex, I think, to have feathers. I'd be like, what the fuck? No, you were scary before, but with feathers.
It could be those bristle-like, proto-feathered outgrowths, and it could just be like having a 5 o'clock shadow all over your body.
Yeah.
Well, like I like to think of the T-Rex as basically, or Tyrannosaurus and its relatives as like having this mane of bristles, and I think that would make them look a lot cooler and a lot scarier.
That would make them look badass.
So, that's how I imagine
it. A cyberpunk T-Rex.
Yeah. That would be pretty badass. But yep, we used to shoot T-Rex, throw them on the pickup, on the fender of the pickup, haul them home. We had bigger.
I remember those ribs, man. You haven't lived till you've had T-Rex ribs.
All right.
Every time we put them in the back of the car, the front of the car would come off the ground.
I really love this improv.
Yeah. So I put up this picture for the show, and I don't really have anything. It was just them. It was Ontological rebroadcasting Dax talk with James Carter. And so, but there's only one clip I wanted to play. Maybe that will get into your science talk, Andrew.
Sure. Okay.
Because I think it kind of relates. It's
Okay.
sort of interesting. Center for whoa, what's happening? I have too many windows open on a good day. On a good day, I have too many. I got to put my headphones on. You know, it's sunny here today, but it's about fucking 6 below.
Weather.
Yeah, the weather.
Well, at least you can still go out and get a tan.
Yeah, you could get a tan. Well, take a
Well,
little
if you
longer.
use like a couple of cooking sheets or whatever, or aluminum pans, you could.
Yeah, that might work.
Sun off the-
Gather the sun rays because
Mhm.
they're a little weak at this time of the year yet. I wonder if I can hear everybody.
I just came up with a joke. What if someone says,
Okay.
"Hey, look, I'm on fire,"
Somebody?
and then he
can't hear
looks
you.
and
Fuck.
the other person looks
Are you
and
kidding me?
and he has mirrors are all around him and say, "Look, I'm
Oh
on
my
fire."
God. How about now?
That would be hilarious.
I can hear you. I can
Oh, you
hear.
couldn't hear us before?
Huh? How about
What?
What'd you say?
Testing 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me, Speed?
I can
Can
hear
hear
you.
me too?
Okay.
What about me?
I can hear you all. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
God, that's going to make it so much easier.
Yeah. I predict that everything will go smoothly, and there probably won't be any arguments.
So I just randomly picked a few minutes into this thing, and I was listening to James Carter, and I just want to see what everybody thinks of this. And I think I have to unmute my site so I can hear it.
Next in line to form these chains, and there's no biological or functional selection at that point. It's just you might make a random protein that folds into garbage the vast majority of the time. Even when you take one of our proteins that we know works and you heat it up, you denature it, and you let it cool down again, more often than not, it won't fold back in the same exact three-dimensional shape. Now take in the fact that you've got thousands and thousands of other molecules besides amino acids that are going to bind to this growing chain, whether it's a chain of nucleotides that are going to form RNA or DNA, or a chain of amino acids to form a protein, polypeptide. These polymers, as they're being assembled, are going to have their reactions stopped all the time. Let's say you have, these amino acids have sort of a left side of them and a right side. So the amino group and the carboxyl group. Well, what if the carboxyl group came off? What if it got oxidized to CO2 and came off of there? So now it's like trying to form a chain of people, but someone came in who's an amputee and is missing one of their arms. There goes the end of the chain. The chain gets truncated because it can't grow anymore. Or what if instead of a person, someone grabbed onto a tree full of sap and their hand got stuck to it. And
Okay. Anyway, that was it. So I listened to that.
Basically, his argument is, it's just too hard.
Yeah, and watching Sella and Otangelo's face, how excited they got. If they talk about randomness and how impossible something is, they just get all excited about it, and it's like, oh my God, I just keep talking, keep telling me how hard it is.
It's impossible. It's so hard.
It's so hard. It's just like, yeah, kind of. Well, we're not going to go there with that statement, but anyway, it just. And
here comes the copy and paste king.
Yeah, and what we were talking about with proteins in that paper, Is a Cell Really a Machine, was about proteins not folding in exactly the same way every time.
Right.
But some of them do. Some of them actually do have a very preferred way to fold. And I think that amounted to 25% of them or less or something. A lot of them work even without folding, and other ones fold into various shapes. And the fact that they can fold into more than one shape and have more than one function is actually good for abile. And the fact that all sorts of random, bizarre chemicals can form is actually kind of good for the whole chemical evolution paradigm. And natural selection at the chemical level, as Demeter likes to point out, is something more statistically probable than something else. So if the statistics started moving in one direction, then we would have evolution of a kind at a chemical level. Now, I was reading today about ribosomes, and I was reading about and listening to a couple videos on ribosome evolution. And that was pretty damn amazing. These guys don't seem to be aware of any of the work that's being done on ribosome evolution, like early as far back as we can reach evolution. It turns out there's all sorts of configurations that allow for a tunnel, for the tRNA to fit in and the protein. I don't know everything about the ribosome machine yet, but I'm learning. But there are all these hinge points that they found, and they found them in random RNA strings. And they found these hinge points that allow the motor to kind of move a little bit, the ribosome machine to move. They found all sorts of trace evidence of evolution in ribosomes, and the group that's working on it is, not funded extremely well, but they're creating a whole lot of information about how things may have been created. And these guys, they just dismiss at the top, which is Andrew, which kind of gets into bad science and good science, right?
Right.
I mean, if you just say, "Oh, it can't happen. Let's clean up the lab and go home," what kind of science is that?
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, like, science is in the business of figuring stuff out. It's kind of weird. Science is kind of it's not a collection of facts. It's more a process of like, of course, getting things more and more accurate, but like it's not we go into the lab or not we, because obviously I'm not a scientist, but or scientists go into the lab and try and prove or disprove this idea. Basically, what they're trying to do is they're basically trying to learn about how the world really works, and obviously that's not the case with pseudoscience. And one thing I want to say to start off with was I feel that pseudoscience is kind of a relative term because, like, obviously one science in one point can become pseudoscience at another point, if that makes sense. Like, you can say, okay, this idea is pretty much sacrosanct right now, but later it's shown to be disproven and come up with a different theory altogether that incorporates it possibly. But if you're going to stick with the older ideas, then that idea that was once science has now become pseudoscience, basically. And I think this gets into the problem of what defines science and how science is a process rather than a collection of facts. But that's what I want to say for now, if you want to jump off that.
Okay, pseudoscience. So the definition of pseudoscience: statements, beliefs, or practices that claim to be scientific and factual but are incompatible with the scientific method. So they've made claims, but they haven't tested them. Basically, they haven't been vetted, I guess. Would that be?
Well, like one example.
It's the idea that it's in principle not something that the scientific method could approach. Because you can make claims about, some kind of thing on the other side of some star or planet, and we may not have a means of testing it. Right. But the thing is that if you make a claim about, let's say, a shoe stealing theory as an explanation for why your shoes disappeared, if that's in principle not studyable or approached by the scientific method, then shoe stealing theory is going to be pseudoscience.
Yeah, and the other thing, well, if you look at, like, some herb will extend your life, that's the claim being made. And then there have been no studies, or the studies that have come up have, concluded nothing.
But also another criteria for pseudoscience is that the person that's invoking the sorts of explanations has to consider it as science, right? So if you think that shoe-stealing fairy hypotheses, if you claim that to be compatible with the scientific method when it's actually not, then that's pseudoscience. But if you're doing some other kind of work and understand that it's not science that you're doing, there's not. I don't think the charge of pseudoscience is applied.
Yeah, and how about like coming up with a hypothesis that is testable and is viable? That wouldn't be pseudoscience unless you claimed it to be factual, unless you made some claim about it.
Yeah, I think that would. I think that's a good point. I think pseudoscience only really applies when what you're claiming is factual or tested when in fact it is not, or maybe this is what I was saying. Maybe it has been tested and it's shown to be not as substantial as the claimer thinks.
Right. So how about this creationist habit of bringing up papers and copying a quote from this authority and that authority and throwing them up, and then having somebody like James Carter, who obviously has a bias, coming on and listing a number of problems with some particular theory or some idea? I mean, is that pseudoscience?
Well, if he's saying that, so the way that I understand the argument is something like, given this extreme probability, it's more likely that some intelligent being explains the phenomena. Now, if you say that if you're saying that you're doing science and in that kind of calculation, for lack of a better word, then I think you can charge them with pseudoscience. But if they're saying, look, science doesn't answer this, it's unlikely that science can answer this question, that's to say you admit the possibility that it could explain it, and then say something like God or an intelligent being best explains the phenomena, but they understand that that's outside the purview of science. I think you can still charge them with certain, you can be critical with them, but I don't think that the charge of pseudoscience applies.
Yeah, I think it's just propaganda and counter propaganda. I mean, they're doing whatever they can to raise doubts about the scientific method based on a fallacy, and that's credulity, an argument from incredulity. Is that what it is? And it's hard. Doesn't really bring anything to the scientific discussion.
But then, if I had a staff, I could go right now and find 50 clips where they claim to be doing real science, and they claim that all the people that write the papers that they're quoting from are not doing real science. But they keep making the claim that we're doing the real science, we have the real predictions, and the rest of and they are the minority, and there's a conspiracy against them by all the other scientists. So that would make it pseudoscience, because they are now making a claim that they're doing the real science.
Yeah, I think that something like that is right. But if a religious person says, hey, I think that Krishna best explains why there's the universe, I understand that's not science. I'm just not confident in what the scientists produce or what science produce in terms of that explanation. They might be wrong, or you might be able to be critical of them, but I don't think it's not like they're
you're not interested in anything empirical. So maybe you would understand it if you showed more.
Well, I don't think all empirical investigations are scientific ones, right? I think people want to distinguish those two things. But even if they say something like that, it's just going to be weird for me to charge them with pseudoscience when they agree that the explanation they're giving is not science.
Yeah, I feel like I understand what you're trying to say, Danny. So you're basically saying, that pseudoscience is basically related to the burden of proof, basically. Like if the person making the claim is claiming that scientific when in reality it shows not to be scientific, then
then that's pseudoscience, exactly.
Okay.
It's like if you lay this root on your belly and sing this song, then you'll get over your stomach ailment or your ulcers will go away. That's pseudoscience. You know, I know it sounds like magic or whatever, but you know, it just became.
If you think that it's science that you're doing, then it's pseudoscience. But if some Christian says, "I'll be praying for you," and believes that that's going to make a difference, and they accept that what they're doing is nothing like what science tries to do. I mean, it's like I said, it's going to be weird to charge them with pseudoscience.
Right. I feel like there's a difference between not science and pseudoscience.
Exactly.
Am I lagging for
Yeah, you
I feel
are.
like. Uh-oh. Hold on. Okay, how about now?
It's still weird.
Hold on.
Can anybody hear me? We have a lot of dead air.
I don't
Hello.
know. Yeah, I can hear you. I don't know what
Okay.
happened.
Oh shit. Okay. I didn't realize I was muted. But
You should not have put that uranium next to your computer, Speed.
God damn it. So Ontological, immutable destiny. I told you already, I am not interested anymore to engage you. Once you convert and receive Christ as your Lord and Savior, your eyes and your scientific understanding will change. Now that, I don't know if you call that pseudoscience, but that's pretty
That just means my version of science is just magic, and you don't have the special Oompa Loompa chant to make you see that this is the real science.
your eyes are not open.
Why anybody takes these creationists seriously, I just do not know.
Well, that's kind of a cult-like thing, right? If you just believe hard enough or you have enough faith, your eyes will open and you will see that we are right. So
if you have to have a magic kind of brain surgery, it's not science.
Right. Anyway.
Do I sound better now?
You sound much better.
It's a Leo.
Okay. Leo.
And
Leo.
Okay, I don't know what goat is. What is goat? Can I hear people who are backstage? Goat, who are you?
Who's a goat?
Somebody's backstage named Goat.
Those eat oats and
Who's a
mares
goat?
eat oats, but little lambs eat ivy. Oh, well.
It's probably a troll.
Yeah. I don't know who Goat is.
By the way,
it could be John Peterson, but you got to change it. You got to give me more than that, for I'm going to let you in. People need to identify themselves in some manner.
If it says goat, it's probably John Peterson making a reference to Tom Brady, who's not goat at all.
Okay, so he's got a picture of a football guy. Should I let him in?
That's probably a picture of Tom Brady.
But more likely,
it's a picture of the goat, Tom Brady, TB12.
Okay, give me a little fucking warning, John.
What?
I mean, I'm not going to just let anybody in here because somebody could porn bomb me and stuff. I don't know what the hell you
Angelo in all the time.
Okay.
Angelo's too prude to porn bomb, though.
Yeah.
I don't know. He inferred that he wanted to suck my dick the other day in the stream.
Otangelo?
Yeah.
Did you take him up on it?
I mean, I got a screenshot of it, actually. Let me see if I can find it. He gave me the tongue hanging out of the side of the mouth emoji and said he loved me.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah. I think that was over on Jay's stream. But yeah, there's no denying it. 7 rings, 5 Super Bowl MVPs.
Talking about your boy.
He's the GOAT. He's the
So
GOAT.
so yesterday was the Big Bowl. They make
Super Bowl, yeah.
They make really good Thai food. I'm glad that everybody in the country celebrates Big Bull for a day. It's a restaurant here at the Mall of America, and I don't know.
Your state is where the Mall of America is.
Big Bull? What? Yeah. I live 5 miles from the Mall of America, and I haven't been there for a year. Fuck. We used to go there like constantly. It's kind of.
I hate malls.
Oh, this one is a treat.
So what are we looking at here?
We're looking at pseudoscience, and Andrew is in charge. A rational empiricist is.
So I kind of want to hear Leo's thoughts on this first, before we move on.
Thoughts on
Pseudoscience.
what?
Pseudoscience.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, science and
Bullshit?
pseudoscience.
It's bullshit.
Oh, wow.
Well, I guess to be more specific, what do
There's
you?
no need. There's no need. Pseudoscience is bullshit. Simple as that. That covers it.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I don't quite get that definition.
Alternative
Something
medicine
happened, we
is
gotta go.
pseudoscience.
Somebody's got some real back.
Yeah.
Somebody's got a TV going on.
Who's got? Oh, it's Nathan. Anyway, okay, go ahead.
I was gonna
Unmute
say
yourself.
alternative medicine is pseudoscience. The dumb shit that Vagisil has been pushing on their new Twitter handle is pseudoscience. Let's see what
Okay.
else here.
Wait, what?
Uh,
Yeah, just so what?
Vagisil, they've got a new Twitter handle and they've been pushing pseudoscience on it.
Well, no, what I'm saying, but yeah, but flesh that out a little bit. I don't know what you're talking about.
Just go type in Vagisil on Twitter and read their posts. Like I don't really have specific. It's just dumb shit.
But I mean,
about
the
what
actual company
hygiene.
Vagisil that makes Vagisil cream.
Yes, but Vagisil's always pushed pseudoscience. They have no understanding. They either have no understanding of how female hygiene is supposed to be, or they just don't care to be accurate. This whole you can shove an amethyst crystal up your ass to become an octave of the sun is pseudoscience. I mean, all this dumb shit. that you can speak to your dead parents is bullshit. It's pseudoscience. Astral projection is pseudoscience.
Have you
Things
seen it?
that are paranormal or pseudoscience.
Is that Danny?
That is.
Who drew that?
Danny is very blue.
Nathan drew it.
How are you?
He got his anger correct.
That was actually me talking to Sal, and I wasn't angry.
Who were you talking to there? You were
Sal.
talking to Sal. Yeah. You weren't angry yet.
Yeah, so maybe it's not anger. Maybe it's more consternation.
You weren't angry yet.
I was also going to add two things that exemplify pseudoscience. The greatest, I would argue, are intelligent design and creationism.
All right. I guess to be specific, Leo, do you think there are any common properties that kind of differentiate science from pseudoscience?
Pseudoscience is bullshit and science isn't.
I don't see a difference there. I don't think that's as clear cut.
It's like the difference between creationism and evolutionary biology. One has consistently made predictions that have become true. One has workable models that can be tested through laboratory experiments and confirmed. The other one just makes a bunch of wild claims in support of a preconceived bias.
So I guess something to ask you would be, do you think pseudoscience is a relative term, like it can change depending on the claim being made or the type of science or the type of ideas being put forward? For instance, like probably I'm just guessing here, but probably flat Earth was once considered some kind of observational science, but like in the ancient days to a loose sense, but like now it's pseudoscience. So I guess it's kind of a relative term. Would you agree?
I would not, because if that were true, then every form of science at one point was pseudoscience, and I wouldn't. Science consistently changes. The fact that it changes doesn't make what was prior pseudoscience. It just means that it wasn't correct. The thing with pseudoscience is that it consistently pushes that it is correct, even though it's not. Science will change when it's not correct.
My Willie.
Wait, is somebody drawing something?
Yeah.
All right, here's the definition: pseudo, not genuine, spurious, or sham. So that kind of says it all to me. I mean, if it's pseudoscience, it actually is non-science.
Andrew, I gave you an informative definition.
Right. Yeah. I just want to hear Leo's thoughts on this too.
I mean, do you agree with that, Leo? That it's just pseudoscience means it's not science.
Yeah. It's something that's not at all scientific, but is masquerading as if it is, like creationism or intelligent design.
Like how Danny's a pseudo philosopher.
Well, I mean, he is in graduate school for philosophy, so
yeah.
Get your money back, Danny.
It's free. In fact, I get paid for it on long term.
Well,
so then,
it's free. You get what you pay for.
He's free.
You get what you pay for.
But they're paying me though, so a lot of graduate students get paid, right?
No. Well, it depends on what you mean by get paid. Some graduate students will get funding by the university for their research, but not all of them.
Aren't graduate students like the richest people on the face of the earth?
No.
Yes.
What is I don't understand it, Tangela. What is the make of pseudoscience? What does that mean?
Where do you say
lack of wording?
The make of pseudoscience, and then he gave a link
like Chevrolet
to reason and science.
Yeah, what's the model of pseudoscience? The make model? Do we have the year on it?
Yeah.
What would the VIN be? Can you give me the VIN?
Oh, actually, a year for pseudoscience might be good because they keep modifying it. The creation or for creationists, it should be good.
Have you seen the new 2021 model? Oh man, I'll tell you what, they're trying to slip in there. I'll tell you.
See what your effect you're having on Tangela on Doubting Thomas. Now he just posted something that I can't fucking understand.
Well,
full of blood.
No, I think I know what Doubting Thomas is trying to say. I'm going to extrapolate here, but he's saying that those who believe in pseudoscience often pay the price with their lives because, oh, hey, you know what I mean? Cancer medication, vitamin D. Yeah, I think that's what he was going with.
And I thought he was maybe calling them all dicks.
I mean,
full tumescence because of the blood.
Yeah, no, I know, John.
Oh, you do?
Yes, I am gay.
They used to have this horrifying treatment for cancer back in like the 60s that they were selling and advertising in magazines. And Reader's Digest did an article on it, and it was some poultice that you put on like a tumor, skin cancer tumor, and you pull it away and it was still attached, and these people were dying from it. And it was like, what the fuck? It was pretty pseudoscience at its best when you kill people. Yeah.
Guys, look at Thomas's second to last comment.
I meant human blood. That one?
No, the one before that. There we go.
License and registration for pseudoscience. I'll bet you Tangela has one of those. Now, I'm wondering if this is really Tangela now that's here. It's right above that comment you just had highlighted. Does Otangelo usually use the word pussy?
That's the Otangelo. Yep.
Yeah, I was just wondering if Jesus would have approved of people saying pussy, his believers and all that, other than like referring to a cat.
Well, pussy, I thought that had something to do with pussy willows and being soft. And the word, using that word has become more popular in the last, 30 years, pussy, as being genitals. It really pisses me off because pussy is a good word for somebody who's, soft. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
But still, calling somebody a name, it's kind of something Jesus talked about not doing.
Yeah.
Well, so I don't know. Maybe it's not Otangelo.
Well, yesterday he gave me the punctuation. I don't even remember what part. I think he used the number 3 and a lesser than sign to make a heart. And he said, "I love you." And then he used the uppercase P with the dot, the colon above it. Like, yeah, I don't know what that was all about. Like, I was kind of like a little sketched out about that. Like, he basically said, "I love you" with a heart emoji, and then gave me the tongue hanging out of his mouth emoji. So I don't know what he was trying to get at.
I don't know why Otangelo doesn't go back to his other account that said Otangelo Grasso, because, you know, it's creating confusion. I should block this Otangelo guy.
Yeah, I don't know.
I should block his sock. Block his socks.
I'm gonna start calling this account Doubt
Block his socks off.
Otangelo.
Gutsick Gibbons says, "No way is that Otangelo."
That is actually Otangelo.
I think it
I know
actually
he
is.
does have an account named Otangelo, but
Yeah, but only Otangelo would post Cat's board.
Yeah.
And
oh yeah,
Nobody else is gonna like try to surf through all of the brainworm infested troglodyte bullshit that's on that website just to post
Right.
articles.
yeah. No, okay. Well, if that's really Otangelo, then the answer to your question is, we talked about it on the stream earlier today. I started researching for the Age of the Universe thing yesterday. Haven't thought about a date yet, but
Hey, Leo, remind me when your argument with your stream with Smokey is again.
My debate against
Yes.
Smoke DJ is this Friday,
What time?
8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
where?
Modern day debate.
Oh,
Who you-
wow.
who are you debating?
Me
Smoke-
and Steven are debating Smokey Saint and the Synagogue, CJ Ryan or CJ Cox on I don't know where I got CJ Ryan from. On socialism versus capitalism.
Are you going to explore whether or not he's a racist?
No, that's not the topic of the debate.
Maybe you need to shift it to that. He needs to
No.
answer to
No,
that.
I don't like shifting away from the topic of a debate. I already know they're going to try to bring up communism and how it supposedly killed like 100 million people, which like no actual serious academic accepts. But it doesn't matter because me and Steven are defending communism.
Well, I don't even see how, even if that was true, what would that have to do about which economic system is better?
I have
Hey,
no
Nate.
idea.
Nathan, I had you muted for a while because you had a whole bunch of background noise.
Wait, is there an economic system under communism?
Oh shit!
Yes.
I didn't
What-
know I was. I didn't know
I
I was
don't
unmuted.
think
My
so.
fault.
What do you take an economic system to be if it doesn't involve capital?
A means of production, distribution, and exchange.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah.
What the heck? Okay, if I unmute you, wait a minute. I'm trying to unmute you.
No, I just muted myself back.
Oh, I'm trying to unmute you so I can edit your mic settings. Because I want to crank you up.
Fucking snake. It's a me, Otangelo.
Oh my God! Now you got maximum mic volume, Nathan.
Is that better? Am I?
Oh my God!
Loud.
I'm trying
Yeah,
to figure out, is this screen name, is it ironic? It says God is good.
okay. What? Who said what? What?
No, I said, I wonder if this screen name is ironic. They're called God is good.
Who is this?
I don't know. Well, apparently it's some guy who goes by the name God is Good.
Well,
I
it
feel
could be,
like
it could be a female instead of a guy.
I think God is good
What?
because anything that doesn't exist is good by me. I don't know.
All right.
Voldemort?
Voldemort. Yeah, Voldemort's good.
And does Hitler exist?
Hey, Danny.
Yeah.
Oh, well, he took it down. I was going to say Speed posted some good news for you.
Oh, what was that?
You
What
like to
news?
poke him.
Wait, hold on. I got lost.
What do you post?
Can't you read it? It's on
Oh,
the
right there. Oh, thank you.
No,
thank
I'm
you.
listening.
I was playing a game. So. Oh.
Two of the best offenders of. Why are people so butthurt about socialism and communism? They're just ideas.
I don't think Drace is saying that he's butthurt. I think he's just asking a genuine question. If I had to choose two of the best offenders, I would probably pick socialism because I'm a socialist, not a communist. I would pick Vosh. I would pick Vosh and Slavoj Žižek.
No.
A fancy name.
Jesus Christ, Gesundheit.
Anyway, well, I grew up in that whole communist is bad era where we almost destroyed the world over ideology, and it's like, you're bad, we're good.
Well, I mean, that's why I'd be interested. Well, no, you're doing socialism. I'm sorry, that's right. But I would have been interested to hear, communism versus capitalism, because there's never actually been a communist. I mean, the closest thing you could come to like a group following actual communism might be found like prior to, wide-ranging civilizations being created.
Exactly. Or hippies on a commune in the 60s.
Well, I mean, so a group that like of hunter-gatherers that, went and like some of them would go gather food, some of them would go kill food. There might be a group of them that watched all the children while they were all out doing this shit and stuff like that,
Yep. So back to pseudoscience and Andrew. Science in general. Methodological naturalism.
I just wanted to answer a follow-up question from Drace really quick. I don't know who Richard Wolff is. I don't know who David Harvey is. I don't know who Gar Alper, whatever that is. And Robert Reich is not a socialist.
Oh man, it's right in his name, Reich. It's right in his name. Okay, Andrew.
So I kind of want to also talk about the supposed requirement for falsification for science. I think that it is broadly needed for science, but I don't think it's a specific requirement for science. And so I want to hear your guys' thoughts on it.
Is that why you said supposed?
I guess so.
So anyway,
you Andrew, if you want to read a book on like what science is, because that's a philosophical question, you should read Alex Rosenberg's Introduction to Philosophy of Science. It's very good. Now, Rosenberg is a naturalist, but he doesn't push his own views or anything like that. He just gives you an overview about what is science, what is law theory, what is a law, how do these integrate, what are the different various views. You'll benefit greatly. If you want, let me know. If I'll send you a PDF.
Oh,
okay.
My God.
Based on this comment, I don't think Otangelo understands the difference between philosophical and methodological naturalism.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't.
Anyway, so what were you guys saying before?
Okay, falsifiability.
Falsifiability. That's what I meant to say.
I've always had kind of I've wanted something intuitively makes me want to push back on that.
Okay.
Is that what you think too, Andrew?
I mean, can I comment on this as the non-scientist in the room? Because this is something I have looked at. Okay, without falsifiability, like if you propose a hypothesis and it's unfalsifiable, meaning that there's no way to do testing on it and try to get repeatable results, then it's just a proposition that can never be fleshed out. Like
I don't think that's true.
Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't you wait till I finish my statement, and then you can rip it apart with your freaking pedantry. So the thing is, like in the atheist-theist debate, okay, the theists always try and burden shift. Well, prove there is no God. Well, you could never do that. I mean, because especially by the way they define their God, to falsify, the proposition that God exists, you would have to be able to examine the entirety of the universe. You would have to be able to examine the entirety of whatever is outside of this universe, and you would have to do it at every point in time, simultaneously, because of the way the abilities that they claim their God has. So that's a nonsense thing. Prove there is no God. And
it's not nonsense.
because of the fact it's unfalsifiable.
No.
It is nonsense, but go ahead and tell me why you think it isn't.
Well, the best way to reply to what you just said is understanding necessary truths and contradictions, right? So certain necessary truths are going to be unfalsifiable. For instance, 2 + 2 = 4 is unfalsifiable.
I don't think that's what John was referring to, so I don't think the distinction is relevant to anything he said.
Are y'all talking about falsifiability in the like scientific sense?
Yes.
Are you talking about? Okay, well then, if you look up falsifiability on any wiki page,
I have.
Okay.
I actually have it pulled up on the Encyclopedia Britannica right now.
Okay, so the idea is that something that's falsifiable is some kind of truth or explanation that's contingent, right? That's all it's saying. Like when you understand Popper's.
All right, but how does this in any way address or rebut what I just got done saying?
Because you were saying that if there was some claim that could not be falsified, it can never be known or something like that, right? But 2 + 2 = 4 is unfalsifiable, but we can know that, right, based on something like identity.
It's not unfalsifiable. It's falsifiable.
Well, then that means it's got a contingent truth.
No, that's not what it means.
Well, do you know what do you mean by falsifiability? Because I'll tell you what I mean.
Falsifiability is where you could show counterexamples that are not counterexamples. You can show why it's true, through.
No, that's not what falsifiability is.
Hey, Danny, before we go on, did you mean let's see, philosophy of science and introduction or something like that? What was it?
Yeah, it's Alex Rosenberg. You've heard of him, right? You should have. You might have heard of him. Yeah.
A contemporary introduction. Is that what you meant?
Yes, that's a good book. I've read bits and pieces of it because I use it like an encyclopedia. But everything I've read was very, very understandable and very informative. I would recommend that book.
Okay, could we falsify this?
Yes, you can. You can falsify that.
Yeah. That's Otangelo's brilliant fucking example.
I think this kind of gets into a good point about, like, is it falsifiable in principle or is it falsifiable now? Because I think a lot of scientific ideas are not falsifiable now, but they are potentially falsifiable. Such as
that's exactly what Karl Popper said, is that it has to be falsifiable in principle. You have to, at least in principle, establish that it could be false.
So
yeah, and something like mathematical truths, or like if I could show that there are no shapes without sides, right? Well, shape is construed as having sides, so that's a contradiction. There's no world in which there's a shape without sides, right? That we didn't have to do an investigation of all the universe and all of reality to do that. We just use the meanings of the words to get to the kind of contradiction there, which is just to say the impossibility of it. So
I don't take mathematical truths as being empirical, so falsifiability is just irrelevant.
Exactly. Okay, I agree. Now, that's what I'm agreeing with, but what John Peterson was saying is for any proposition that's
okay, so I didn't exclude math. I mean,
okay,
what's your fucking point, dude?
Well, like when it comes to God or
hold on, Danny. Hold on. I'm trying to say something, okay? Every now and then I want to say something. Okay, so let's consider something we care about, like abiogenesis or the history of how life arrived on Earth, or the basically how things evolved, how things are related in the past. So now we're talking about something historical, and we're talking about something we care about because we don't really give a fuck about mathematics on this particular talk, do we?
And that's cool too. But I just want to make the point that what I said about proving the non-existence of God and unfalsifiability was 100% accurate.
No, I disagree.
I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit if you disagree.
You can prove that God doesn't exist.
Wrong. You're just wrong, Danny.
Look, the problem of evil is the logical problem of evil. Excuse me.
That doesn't prove it. That's an argument. How does that prove anything? It's an argument.
Arguments. You don't think arguments guarantee conclusions? What are
No,
you,
they
like
arguments
the
establish
biggest white
probabilities.
belt new atheist I've ever met?
Arguments establish probabilities. And
No,
sometimes-
you
hey, let me
conceded that
finish
was
my
false.
sentence, man. And sometimes those probabilities are close enough to 100% that it's a distinction without a difference, and sometimes they're so close to zero that it's a distinction without a
That's a
difference.
contradiction.
Wait till he's done.
No, I won't. So try to defend your little friend speech.
Hey,
You will wait until somebody else is done with their sentence. Okay.
during this pause, may I ask Nathan Artwork
I'll
if he's
do what I
about to
want,
call
Speed. The
Amelia
only way you
Clark?
can control me is by kicking me out.
Well, if
Just
that's
like that, Danny.
then that's what's going to happen.
Cool.
So we're talking about you and John arguing is not so entertaining for anybody. So stop it. Fucking stop it. Stop bringing shit up like that. I mean, if you want to have a talk about that in another stream, right now we're talking about science and
Talk to
Andrew's
John as well. I'll drop it if John drops it.
I'm asking John to drop it.
I'll drop it if he drops it.
Oh my God, you are such a little twerp, dude.
Great
Did I
word.
say-
There he is, not dropping it. He can't
That's
help
kick you out
himself.
of the
He just
room.
can't help
I
himself.
can't help myself.
Look at
Really?
you, right? Look at you right now. I said I would drop it if you would drop it. Do you agree to drop it? Yes or no?
I don't need to answer your question.
Look at him. He's just as petty.
No, so Speed, and once you pulled him from the room and told us to stop it, did I say one more word about the topic?
No, Danny did. Danny wanted you to say you're dropping it. And okay, Danny, no more words about the topic. Now we're going on. Okay, thank you, Danny.
So I think maybe we should move on to something like methodological naturalism, perhaps. Speed.
Well, yeah, let's think about that in terms of abiogenesis. Okay, there.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Hubert Yaki came up with kind of a long mathematical proof that we could never actually figure out what really happened. But that does not mean that we can't find many ways in which it could have happened. And I think that's what we're doing. And but for fossil evidence, we kind of want to know what is related to what, like what came from what. So I mean, how does falsifiability work for these long historical things? I mean, we can do it for, my car is missing from my garage, but how do we do it for?
Well, let me just say, because I mean, and the reason you're saying like the guy who did the proof for, making a statement that we can never probably ever know is because when you go back to the point where life first came about, there probably isn't any evidence left. I mean, there's no fossils or anything, because if it started out as cellular, I mean, what are you going to do? Find the first, components of life, like left suspended in amber or something like that? I mean, it's just something like that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So I think like based on what you're saying, Speed, you would agree that I guess falsifiability kind of depends on the idea you're looking at, right? Like it depends on the scope of the claim, and kind of like how specific it is. Because like I think like using the fossil example you mentioned, if I feel like it's at least very difficult to falsify that kind of ancestry, or kind of to test it or verify it even. But like I feel like there you can also falsify bigger ideas like theories, because theories kind of it's a lot broader. So like
What might help is understanding falsifiability in terms of predictions, right? So if there's a horse in the other room, that generates predictions, and so when you go there, those predictions can be met or not. And then if they're not met, you falsified the sort of thing that's been posited, right? So that's the idea, is that falsification is closely tied to kind of empirical verification, in the sense that, look, whatever theory or whatever explanation you're invoking or thing that you're positing, what predictions would it generate? And can we meet those expectations or not in principle? Now, if you so yeah, there's some problems with history, right? But even so, there are going to be things like, oh, well, if a meteor of this size hit, I don't know, Mercury, we would expect to see X, Y, Z. Well, we looked at Mercury. Oh, we saw X, Y, Z. That would confirm that hypothesis. If you were to not see X, Y, Z, that would falsify the hypothesis. But The point that I was making earlier is that stuff like math or certain philosophical, metaphysical questions or postulates are not going to fit that kind of pattern, right? So that's why science is unique, a unique study that in principle, so any hypothesis or empirical thing that you posit is going to be something that could meet your expectations or not in terms of your observations.
Well, hey, Speed, can you share Donald's last comment that you had up a few minutes ago?
Donald? Okay. Oh, yeah. But, I'm just wondering how do we apply that to the idea of figuring out what is related to what and what happened in the past? And abiogenesis, for instance. I can't find Donald's comment. Where the hell is it?
It's probably up a ways. You just shared it.
Oh, yeah. This is pretty simple. But Danny's right. It's about predicting. It's about making predictions so that you set up the same circumstances again, and you find out if it happens. Then you've made a prediction and you can verify it, or you can find a way to show that it can't happen.
Okay, but if you set up an experiment, you have a hypothesis, you set up an experiment, and what you expected to happen doesn't happen.
That doesn't necessarily.
That doesn't falsify or prove or show anything, or because it could be that experiment turned out wrong.
How would we falsify a lineage? Go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah, I just to Harper real quick. I think that's why I kind of like to think of science in terms of what some other people have told me. Basically, it's coming up with models that work, not necessarily if they're strictly falsifiable or not. I don't think that's very cut and dry as some people like to think, but I think it's coming up with the best explanation given available evidence. Would you guys agree?
It is true that there are other, they're called epistemic virtues. You can Google that really fast. Falsifiability is just one of the epistemic virtues, and there are other ones, right? There's explanatory power and scope, like I think someone had mentioned. I think that like last time I checked, there were like 7 to 10 of them. Something like that.
I'm just saying that, like you're saying, we can't consider one alone to be defining science. I think it's a lot messier than that.
Oh, absolutely. It's not easy. Not easy to get a control of what a scientific explanation is. Not very straightforward.
Danny, I just wanted to let you know that like when you're in the room, we don't need to Google anything.
I take that as a compliment.
Yeah, it wasn't meant as one, but at least you caught onto the import of it.
John, I don't dislike you. Maybe I don't. If that counts for anything.
In some possible world, it probably does.
So, I guess do we keep going on falsifiability, or can I ask I guess more methodological naturalism?
Well, could I ask you something, or anybody want to? Did everybody read what Donald had posted? And I was wondering what people thought of that, because I thought that.
Oh, I don't know if I saw that comment.
It was where he had jumped in when we started talking about falsifiability, and he had said, here it is right here. If there is no way to show something to be false, even if that thing is false, then that thing is unfalsifiable.
Mm-hmm.
I guess a naive question I might ask would be, how do we know that we've tested all ways it could be false potentially? Like what if there's some other way that we don't know that could show it's false? I don't know. Am I being naive here? Or?
Well, that's one of the reasons why all science is provisional, because there might be a new technique or a new way to some technology we find to test things properties or whatever in the future that might in fact make it falsifiable. It's just at the time you do it, what Donald's saying is at the time you test to see if it's false, if you can't show that it's false, even if it really is false, then that thing is unfalsifiable. Kind of like trying to prove that no God exists.
I would say that science isn't about finding ways that something is false.
abduction, I guess.
in a sense.
I mean, but isn't you come up with a hypothesis and then you set about trying to falsify it?
Yes. And the more you fail at that, the more established it becomes.
Right. Yeah.
But beyond that, you also test for the predictions that it makes.
Right. I kind of feel like falsifiability is kind of like I feel like it's important, but like I feel like it's kind of creating a limit to like what we can and can't observe. You know, it kind of limits the possibilities basically.
Not sure if I understand that.
Like Leo was saying, if you want to test a hypothesis, you can go and see what predictions it makes, and you can see, okay, if this shows up or if this shows up, I don't think it's strictly is necessary for, okay, if this shows up, then it's false, and we just discard it. I think that's what I'm arguing against. It's not as cut and dry as that as maybe some people would make it out to be.
Yeah, Brainbug says falsification is a product of science, but not the goal.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it, Brainbug. That's, I think, what I was saying, that science comes up with models that work, basically. Like we're not trying to find objective truth, I'm trying to figure out a good way to phrase this, but like we're not trying to find objective truth. We're trying to find the best we can at that kind of objective truth, and we don't know if we've ever gotten there.
So one thing, I kind of agree with you, Andrew. There's something about falsifiability that seems limiting, or it seems sort of, what the hell happened? That was stack up. Yeah. Okay. So these scientists that are working on biosemiotics and information and all of that, I was thinking about that this morning, and I kind of love it because it's highly technical, but none of it is I can't imagine how we could falsify something. What they're doing is they're coming up with new paradigms, new ways to look at theory. But then I asked myself the question this morning: what have they produced that is useful?
Are your guys' objections with the idea of falsifiability? Is it because even with that, like, it doesn't tell the whole story? Like,
Well,
I don't
have
objections. Out everything through falsifiability. Is that what the problem is?
Yeah, it's like it almost seems like we would become thick and unimaginative if we had this. We constantly use this falsifiability criteria, and the guys that are doing biosemiotics and information, they wouldn't even get started, because you can't falsify a new theory yet. I mean, there are a lot of things that we would throw out there, come up with a hypothesis or do some imaginative and creative work. And it wouldn't readily be evident how we would falsify that. So should we, not do any of that? I mean, is that not real science, or, I don't know.
Yeah, and that's kind of the point I was making, is that I don't think there's a strict boundary between what is science and what is pseudoscience. Like there's one thing that's science and one thing that's not science, pseudoscience. But like how you draw the line in between that gradient, basically.
Well, wait a minute. The line is that science is science. Pseudoscience is not science. Whatever pseudoscience is, one thing we know for sure is it is not science.
Right. So then we have to define science, basically.
Right.
Which is not very easy.
I actually don't think it's hard at all. Science is a methodology, or a set of methodologies for figuring out what the world actually is. Not all the different ways that it could be, not the way that we think it particularly should be, just the way that it is.
And that's why Otangelo's comment a while back was kind of so nonsensical to everybody, because I forget what he said about methodological
naturalism.
I mean, that's just a technique. That's just the method. I mean, it's not it didn't fit the statement you made because you were. I forget what he was trying to say, but I think a few people in here said, "Well, yeah, that just shows he doesn't know what that is." I mean, so.
Well, like let me put it this way: if Otangelo doesn't accept methodological naturalism, then I feel like I've used this analogy before, but like, then how does he know that his car is gonna work? Because like methodological naturalism, to me at least, is basically saying that the world is understandable for our senses. That it makes rational sense.
Right.
Speed?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't really got time to be in here right now. I'm extremely busy, but I did want to stop in and just clarify a little bbit about falsifiability. First off, the term, it's probably a bad word for what it represents. The term falsifiable, the way it's put together, it makes it look like able to be made false, and that's not what it means. It actually doesn't refer to whether or not something is false or whether or not something can be made false, but rather whether or not something can be shown to be false if it happens to be false. In other words, it assumes that whether or not the thing is false is not known or is in question, and what you're determining is whether or not, if it is false, there is a way that you could show that to be the case. That's all falsifiability is. So if something is unfalsifiable, it simply means that even if it is false, there's no way that you could show that to be the case.
Yeah. Yeah.
I understand. That's why I liked your comment and asked Machiria. Hey, I don't want to derail everything, but is there any way is there any way we could let Otangelo come in for a minute and do what he says he can do?
What can he do?
What is it that he says he can do?
He says at speed of sound of gravity, I come in anytime and explain to John what methodological naturalism.
You guys want to invite him in to explain it?
How is he going to explain
gotta go.
something he doesn't understand?
Okay,
Yeah, that's
Don.
right.
Don has to
I gotta go. I will be listening as much as I can. If I'm needed, say something. Let me know. I'll try to get back in again. Thank you.
We'll say 5 skin.
Yeah.
If you hear somebody say 5 skin, it means we need you back.
Okay, so
I'll try to keep
poll
that in
the
mind.
room. Should we have Otangelo tell us all about?
I mean, but just let him know up front. You're going to get a
Give him
limited
5
amount of
minutes.
time. Yeah.
Okay, 5 minutes, Otangelo. Come on in and tell us about, because we scientists, we don't know much.
I think you might have to put the link in there again. It was way.
I did put the link.
Oh, okay.
I'm fucking on top of this shit.
All right.
Hey, Speak. Sorry, can you pull the comment down so we can see when he comes in?
Oh yeah. Let me see. How do I do that?
There we go.
Okay, he's in. Otangelo, you got the floor. Tell us what methodological naturalism is.
Oh, I was actually first wanting to ask John if he knows what it is.
No. You're here to tell us what it is.
Okay, it is the method to test things.
Wait a minute. Wait, hold on. Let me stop you right real quick. You set about to define something by using one of the terms of the thing you are defining. That's not a good way to define anything. Could you start without using the word method?
Oh well, no, John. That's kind of.
It can be done.
No, John.
It can be done quite easily.
It was
Be good.
It was precious to see John even to think what he wanted to say. He didn't even remember the word methodological naturalism. Oh wow!
What are you talking?
Okay, Otangelo, you're supposed to explain to us now. You're not going to pick a fight with John. I know everybody likes to pick a fight with John, but
Oh, I love it.
okay, Otangelo, go.
Yeah.
Methodological naturalism.
Okay, it is the method which science uses to test things.
What?
And it uses just natural explanations. Supernatural explanations are excluded a priori.
But are they?
So just really quickly, that's not correct. Non-natural explanations are not precluded or excluded a priori.
Yes,
Right.
they are. They are not
No, they're
permitted. They are not permitted in the explanation.
Yes, they are. They just haven't worked.
Nope, that's not correct. That's not right.
Well, then you're just demonstrating you don't understand what methodological empiricism is.
I didn't say methodological empiricism. I said methodological naturalism. Well,
Which is better characterized.
we can just quick.
Which entails empiricism, dumbass.
Well, no, be nice to our guest.
I think.
Be nice to our guest.
Okay, methodological naturalism is a way of acquiring knowledge. It is a distinct system of thought concerned with a cognitive approach to reality and is thus a philosophy
Now you're
of
reading
knowledge.
shit off the internet. Wow.
Well, I'm just backing up what I said, okay?
This was the worst idea I've had in a long time.
Cognitive approach to right. Let's say philosophy of knowledge studies by whatever. Okay, I guess Elaine Eklund, whatever. So methodological naturalism seems to be trying to it seems to have something to do with mechanism, figuring out how mechanisms work.
Okay, here. Methodological naturalism requires scientists to seek explanations in the world around us based on what we can observe, test, replicate, and verify. It is self-imposed convention of science. That's precisely what I said. Supernatural explanations cannot be tested, replicated, and verified, so they are excluded as a framework of
Exactly. We're going to exclude anything that can't be tested, measured, or verified. That's just how science is supposed to work.
Right. What's wrong with that?
I want to read a quote.
Did I say it
the
is
relationship
wrong?
between science,
I was just asked to explain what
Real
it is,
quick,
and I
somebody
did.
say 5
the relationship between science and naturalism is not that science presumes naturalism. It's that science has provisionally concluded that naturalism is the best picture of the world that we have available. It is not presumed.
But real quick, hold on, Otangelo. I was just trying to get in. Donald had said he had limited time, but he popped back in, so I imagine he's just got something quick to add. So why don't we let him add?
Please. I just want to say methodological naturalism is not a method. It's naturalism. Methodological is the adjective modifying the word naturalism. Naturalism is the noun. It's methodological naturalism, not natural method, not natural. Get them in the right order, okay, Otangelo? It is not a method.
I would disagree. I would say that it is a method. Methodological naturalism is just a philosophical term. There are methods associated with it, yes, but methodological naturalism is a form of naturalism. Methodological is the modifier that tells what type of naturalism it is. That's why there are methods associated with it, because the idea is you use methods for naturalism. That's why it's called methodological. Now I'm going to get out of here because, like I said, I'm really busy. I just, I really didn't want to have to come in here just to clarify how to use the English language. I'm sorry if I seem a little upset. I'm not upset. I'm just really in a hurry to get stuff done that's going to take me a lot of hours to do, and I really don't have the time. So, yeah, keep up what you're doing. Thank you.
Well, I agree with what Donald said. It is the method used in science to investigate things, and the method is that science uses naturalism, which is the proposition that only natural things exist and can be investigated, and not supernatural things.
No, it's the idea that everything that we've investigated has turned out to be of natural origin. That's
well, you are just wrong.
It's not that they start with the idea there is this natural world.
Just wrong,
Otangelo, shut the fuck up for like 30 seconds. Let me finish the sentence, and then you can set about telling me why I'm so fucking hot. Okay.
Okay.
Remember, I'm just a pussy. It's not that. Okay, they start with the naturalism. It's that they go looking for explanations for what we observe. And all the things that we've explained have ended up having natural causation. It's not that a scientist says, you know what, I am not going to even consider the idea of something supernatural. It's that literally every bit of science that's been done up to this point has come up with natural causation for everything. that we've explained.
Okay. Can I answer to that now?
I mean, sure, it wasn't a question.
John,
But go ahead.
well. So let me answer to that. I have
I go
never
next?
seen. Well, yeah. Can I answer now? I have never seen an atheist or a materialist giving any substantial or compelling explanation whatsoever in regards of any questions related to origins. None.
Right. So you're talking about
Can I finish? Can I finish, please?
No, you're talking
Can I
about
finish?
unknowns,
Can I
though.
finish? Can I
John,
finish?
I said no.
Can I
I said
finish,
no.
please?
John,
I said no.
Can I
John.
finish, please? That is in regards of astronomy, laws of physics, fine-tuning, origin of life, biodiversity, consciousness, and
We
morality.
do have
These are
explanations
the
for a
main
lot of
topics.
those, so I don't know
Wow.
what you're talking about.
Leo,
We
can
have
I
we have
finish?
explanations for a lot of those,
Can I finish? Can I finish?
but you're just
My hand
wrong.
is
You're
my
making
Can I
hand is
finish? Can I
making
my
finish?
hand is up.
Can I
already
finish?
true.
Can I finish? I was actually already finished, but you interrupted me, Leo. So
No, I didn't.
okay.
You actually
If you're-
paused,
Yes,
and then I
you-
had jumped
yes,
in.
you
And then
finished-
you said,
yes,
"Can
you
I finish?"
interrupted me.
After you
You
had
If you're
paused.
interrupted me.
finished, if you're finished, my hand
How,
is up.
how can you interrupt somebody after they stop talking? That makes no
Whose
sense.
hand is up?
My hand.
Who? Doubting?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's down.
But I can't see your hand. Oh,
He's in
shit.
private chat.
I'm in the
I
tub.
hit- Okay,
He
okay,
was
we don't want to
letting
see
you
your
know
fucking.
because you couldn't see your hand.
All
He's
right.
letting you know that.
Oh, okay, Doubting Thomas, go ahead.
Otangelo, I have a question for you, and here's why I don't believe much of what you say. I'm not a scientist. My education is limited, but I do have a brain. And a little while ago,
Oh shit, you're cutting out a little bit. Oh, you put the phone underwater.
Yeah, we can't hear you at all.
Can't hear you at all now. Phone
And
went
you know,
under.
one of the things that Tangelo listed was biodiversity. There's no explanation for that. That's the most insane fucking statement I've ever heard in my life.
There is
That is pretty
What
insane.
do you understand about evolution and genetics, John? You are just a joke.
Okay.
Nanny Karen.
He understands enough to get to the right answer. That counts for something.
Yep. I have studied the topic enough to have.
And you still
Did
didn't
you-
get to the right answer.
I don't care about
Can you
your
hear me?
opinion, Leo.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
I hear you now.
Okay,
All right.
The right
let
answer.
Thomas go. Let Thomas go.
And you
I
might as
got
well
a
start
shitty
over.
connection. I'm sorry. All right. All right, Otangelo, you said in the chat there is no restriction of the possible combinations of nucleotides nor amino acids.
Yeah.
Oh
Do
shit, we
you
lost
do you agree with that?
Yes.
I think you're going in and out again, Thomas.
Yeah, you're going in and out.
Either that or he's
Damn.
got like a long delay.
Hold on. I'll be right back.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, Speed, would you mind pulling up CRISPR's last comment about naturalism?
Oh,
Somebody's got the stream coming through their mic.
how many years ago was that comment? Okay, let's see. I'm trying to find it. CRISPR. Oh, CRISPR right there. Anything is real. Anything real can be
There we
tested.
go.
Yeah, if the supernatural is real, it could be tested. So if it can't be tested, it isn't real. So it could be tested, supernatural. I mean, if supernatural things started happening, we could test them. We could figure out that every time we walked into this room, a magical unicorn popped up, and like on that show Happy, the series Happy.
Oh, I started watching that.
Can I
That's a great
read
series.
can I read
Go.
something really quick?
Yeah, go ahead, Leo.
And I read part of it earlier, but I want to read the whole thing. This is out of page 134 of Sean Carroll's book, The Big Picture. Quote, "The relationship between science and naturalism is not that science presumes naturalism. It's that science has provisionally concluded," and that word provisionally is important there, has provisionally concluded that naturalism is the best picture of the world we have available. We lay out all of the ontologies we can think of, assign some prior credences to them, collect as much information as we can, and update those credences inferences accordingly. At the end of the process, we find that naturalism gives the best account of the evidence we have and assign it the highest credence. New evidence could lead to future adjustments in our credences, but right now, naturalism is well ahead of the alternatives, end quote. So this is exactly what this is why I hate the word methodological naturalism, because it starts slapping all this other stuff on it that's not a part of it anyway. Science does not presume beforehand that natural explanations are the best. It has concluded that they are the best because they provide the best explanations for what we have. There has not once ever in the history of humans been any explanation for anything that we have observed that has been supernatural. Not once.
And Leo, tell me why it is that I so much love what you just read from Sean Carroll and your conclusions about it. Why do I like that so much just based on recent happenings in this hangout?
I think it's because your heart is dark and you hate God.
I don't know.
Well, no, because a lot of what you read Sean Carroll wrote and a lot of what you said right now was synonymous with the explanation I gave 5 or 10 minutes ago that Leo balked at and told me I was an idiot for. So I mean,
wait, I told you were an idiot for something?
No. I'm talking about Tangelo.
Oh, you
yeah.
said Leo. Okay, you meant Tangelo. Okay, I was about to say, whoa, when did I say that?
Yeah, no, it's
okay. So Andrew, how much off the rails have we gone, and what else did you want to talk about?
I guess one thing I wanted to say real quick, based on CRISPR's comment, was that I feel that just like the other things we've talked about, I feel like natural and supernatural are relative terms. And I feel that something supernatural, once we've tested it, most people would call it natural, but that's just because we like to lump things together, basically. So do you guys have any thoughts on that?
I could agree with that, but then I would argue it was never supernatural. It was natural the entire time, and we just didn't know about it. The word supernatural doesn't mean something we just don't know about yet. It means something that exists independently of and external to the natural world. But the one thing I wanted to say really quickly is that theists will always define the supernatural as well. It's stuff that you can't test for, you can't observe it and measure it, and then get mad when we can't observe and measure and test the supernatural, so we don't put it on the table. It's stupid. You're defining it a certain way and then getting mad at the fact that you defined it that way and therefore we don't use it, because we can't. We cannot use things we can't test for. We just can't.
Right. Hey, I want to address Stephanie real quick. Stephanie, I agree with you. A lot of people disrespect Otangelo, but it's not that the disrespect we're showing them isn't, the basic respect that you show any human being. I think everybody still feels that way about Otangelo, but the reason he gets interrupted all the time is because, and Benghazi referred to it as copy pasta. I mean, Otangelo, just like when he came in and he was going to explain to us what it was, he gave this, and then somebody balked at what he said, and then he immediately goes to the internet, starts reading this long-winded thing. I mean, he gets interrupted because he says something that's nonsensical, and especially with most of the people in this room, myself not included, but like Leo and Speed and all the other scientifically minded people here, they hear something that's just so outrageous, he has to be corrected on the spot before he says 15 more points that you got to remember to address 5 minutes later.
Can I have one more kick at the cat?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay, Otangelo, you said in the chat, and I quote, there is no restriction.
Okay.
There's no restriction of the possible combinations of nucleotides nor amino acids.
I don't know if he's listening. He said, "Give me a minute." I think he was dealing with his child. Maybe I heard.
All right. Shit.
Oh,
all right.
And your connection is working too.
All right. Yeah. That's cool.
Well, I think his connection is working because I think when he excused himself, he went and connected with something else.
I did.
So while we're waiting, Doubting, do you have any thoughts on the topic we've been discussing?
Which one?
Naturalism, methodological naturalism.
I think it's the best tool that we have available to understand our universe.
Right.
One of the best.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, or ask, would you guys mind if I read a really, really short quote from the National Academy of Sciences?
No, that would be wonderful.
Quote, because science is limited to explaining the natural world by means of natural processes, it cannot use supernatural causation in its explanations. Similarly, science is precluded from making statements about supernatural forces because these are outside its provenance. Theists will state that. They will state that, well, the supernatural is beyond science, but then get mad like Ontological is when science doesn't use the supernatural, even though they agree that the supernatural is beyond science. I don't get that.
Okay, I want to respond to that. I've said it previously and I say it again. I think that methodological naturalism applied to operational science is okay, where we test things and ask how things operate. When it comes to historical sciences, which ask different questions, namely how did things in the past come to be, then it is, in my understanding, arbitrary and wrong to exclude supernatural explanations or intelligent design as a possible explanation of origins. All possible mechanisms have to be put on the table and be investigated and compared to each other to come to the best case adequate explanation and solution. And science is not doing this. It is also restricting investigations in regards of origins and is excluding intelligent design a priori. And if you see evolutionary papers or abiogenesis papers, they are not permitted to infer a designer as the best and case adequate explanation.
It's because it doesn't explain anything. What is the mechanism? How does an intelligent designer operate in the natural world?
You don't have to have an
Can I have a go?
explanation.
Yes, you do.
Can I have a go?
Literally, you do. That is the whole point of
No,
science.
you don't.
Yes, you do.
Okay, Doubting Thomas wants to get in now, and then I want to have 1 minute with Ontological.
Okay, I just want to have a go as a layman to see if I can answer that correctly. What you're proposing, Ontological, the road that you just went down, you started talking about science, and then you went to talking about what is not science. As soon as you talk about the supernatural, from what Leo just read, you're no longer talking, you're not talking historical science any longer.
Well, evolutionary biology, which makes claims in regards of change which cannot be tested and supposedly took millions of years, cannot be tested. So that's not science either.
What do you mean it can't be tested?
It was tested.
It's been tested numerous times.
No. The big macroevolutionary changes cannot be tested because they take much more time that
they're corroborated.
Can I finish, Leo? Can I finish, Leo? Stop interrupting people.
Not when you're wrong. Oh well, it sucks. Don't be wrong. Don't be wrong, and you won't get interrupted.
You can wait until I finish, and then you can correct.
Don't be wrong, and you won't get interrupted.
I say something wrong. Okay.
You
have to learn to wait.
And you have to learn to, not say stupid shit that's wrong.
You have to learn to wait.
Learn to be right.
Hold on. Stop this. Okay. So, Ontological, were you done? Are you done, Ontological?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Ontological. Now, when you said that we have to consider supernatural things happening in the past.
No, intelligent design.
Oh, no, it's supernatural things. That's what intelligent design is. I'm sorry. So,
all right.
Okay.
Whatever.
Unless you're positing aliens, I could grant that life started by aliens.
So you're saying that we have to consider that magic happened in the past. Well, that is a very slippery slope. That means we have to consider anything. That means we have to consider.
Yeah, sure.
That means that we have to consider that carbon at one time didn't exist, or carbon combined in a way that it doesn't combine, that tetrahedral bonds weren't a thing, and many, many other things. And no, we cannot do that in science ever, because what is happening now is all we have to test things with and falsify with things with. And what you're doing is you're just putting this biblical apologetic in that, well, we don't see miracles now because God just doesn't want to do them in the current time. He did them in the past. He rose people from the dead. He did all this stuff in the past, but he's not doing it currently. So no, that is not and never will be part of science.
And you want to know what? Leo said it a few minutes ago.
I'd like to answer to
okay,
that.
you can, okay, but I started speaking first, so let me finish my sentence, and then you can go on with your nonsense, all right? Leo said it when you first brought it up, Otangelo. Okay, it's all well and good. You say intelligent design. You say the answer is supernatural, but how does that show what the method was? You're just positing a possible explanation of how it happened, but you're not saying what the method was that got it done.
Okay,
You're saying you're basically saying God did it, but you're not showing any methodology of how it happened.
You're not showing us which God.
Okay, two things to that. First of all, I do not need an explanation of the explanation. Otherwise, I would require. Can I finish? Can I finish, Leo? Can I finish? Can I finish?
Because there's no
Can I
mechanism.
finish?
If there's no mechanism, it's not an explanation.
Can
and it
I
doesn't explain
finish?
it.
Can I finish? Can I finish?
Don't be wrong.
Stop
you
interrupting
keep
me. Can you finish? Can I finish? Can I
what
finish?
people
Can I
are saying
finish?
and
Can I
addressing what
finish?
they
Can I?
Leo, are you done, Leo?
Well, I mean, he's just misrepresenting.
Leo, for fuck's sake, please let him talk. You're giving me a headache.
That's all you're fucking doing, Leo, is making him start yelling.
I don't care. Well, then don't be
doing
fucking wrong, and you won't get butthurt for being called or being said wrong. Don't misrepresent what somebody said when you go to address what they said, because if you do that, then I'm going to butt in and make sure that you're properly representing what the person said before you address what they said.
Let Leo get done, Otangelo. Otangelo rage quit, which is okay. So
because he's a pussy. He's wrong and then gets butthurt when he's shown to be wrong.
Leo,
Leo, what is wrong with letting the man finish being wrong?
Right.
Well, I don't care if you're not going to address what somebody said when you're not even addressing what they said because you didn't understand what they said or are misrepresenting what they said.
Okay.
Just let him finish being wrong, man.
It went right over his fucking head. He wasn't addressing anything that John said. Nope, sorry. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200.
Next time that happens, Leo, I'm going to mute you when you do that because that wasn't right.
Man, I wanted to talk.
Yeah, it was. It was totally right.
Shit, he wanted to talk to Otangelo, and now you. Well, Otangelo is probably still listening, Thomas.
If I may.
Yeah, at this point, he's probably going to start posting scripture references now.
This
is where he confines us to an everlasting hell.
He's probably firing up a live stream right now.
No, he's got another half an hour.
Well, if I may say something based on what Otangelo said or respond to it, I feel that his statement that science considers all possible explanations is misleading because I don't think it considers all possible explanations. I think it considers all possible logical and rational explanations based on the available evidence. Because like obviously the sun may dip down tomorrow and never come back up. That's a possible thing that might happen, but it's not logical based on what we know. So I think there's a difference.
I think the idea is that you can't just make any shit up that you want. I mean, that gotta work, right?
Right. It has to be based on evidence.
Okay, now overtalk somebody who was trying to talk. Who was trying to talk?
Uh-oh.
Somebody was.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Oh, there he is. He finally posted something else.
Yeah, I don't know how to. I'm not. So I probably reacted back. I should have muted both of you because you yelling, "Let me finish," and Leo going over. I probably should have just muted Leo, and then you would have shut up. But I'm sorry. I apologize, Otangelo. Leo, apologize, Leo.
Nothing to apologize for. I didn't do anything wrong.
Okay, Leo. Thank you.
Once the rest of you realize that this is how you have to handle people who push this obvious pseudoscientific bullshit, you'll realize it. You'll realize.
Yeah, but consider the people listening to this. How long are they going to listen if you two are yelling at each other and you can't even hear what either of you are yelling? I mean, Otangelo was managing because he was repeating a phrase. He was managing to mute out everything that you said, so nobody heard anything that you said. What good?
Yeah.
Back to the top.
Can you post CRISPR's comment? I think he want to show it.
Shit.
Well, and the thing is Stephanie, she made a valid point a little while ago. I mean, and then Doubting Thomas basically, gave me food for thought. Is like, all right, so he says something wrong, let him be wrong for however long he's going to talk, and we'll know,
Which is what YouTube is for.
There's you can take this however you want, Leo. You and it's been pointed out to you before, and I like you, but there's a manner you could conduct yourself in a better manner in these hangouts.
I do.
You really could.
I do. But not when I'm dealing with people like Otangelo, because that's how you have to deal with those people. I handle people the way that they need to be handled. Point blank.
Why? Then what? If everybody's telling you this, Leo, then why could you leave the room when Ontangelo is here, or just mute yourself? I mean, is that a possibility?
Yeah, it's certainly a possibility.
All right, I'm just throwing it out there.
But there's probably more creationists I don't treat that way than there are that I do.
I think Donald mentioned the artifacts of humanity. Basically, supernatural, the meaning of that is, it's never been fleshed out very well. The meaning of it is it usually means magic. It usually means humans intend something with their brains and it happens, or they intend something by throwing herbs on the fire, or we love dancing naked around the fire. Yeah, Minnesota, we do that all the time.
And supernatural, the supernatural traditionally was found in the gaps, and those gaps have shrunk over time.
Well, no, I don't think that was the original. I think supernatural meant like witches and humans doing stuff and intending stuff with their mind and creating stuff, like praying would be supernatural. If you pray for cancer to be cured, anything like that has to do with humans. Like, okay, humans can figure out how to build a shelf in their garage, and they make a plan and they go out there and they build it. But first of all, they make a plan. So supernatural, and Dak can maybe tell us what the actual historical meaning of all this was. But supernatural was basically about, I think about building a shelf in the garage, and I throw some herbs in a pot, some garlic and sage, and then I have a shelf in the garage.
Some eye of newt and wing of bat.
Right. I never had to build it.
I wanted to kind of get into Leo's boat there, because I need to apologize. I was essentially doing the same thing, with Otangelo, and as it's been brought up, like, hey, like Speed said, this is what YouTube is for. If somebody's going to go off saying crazy shit, then let them just say it, and then people are going to hear that, and that's people like Otangelo, the best refutation you can do of their arguments is to let them keep talking.
See what I did there? I put both of you in the corner.
Oh, okay.
I had to put you in a corner. Okay. You're both in a corner.
Corner's the best place to be. There's only one direction from which people can approach you.
Hey, it's Peter from Gonna Go For It.
Peter! Oh, can I say something to Peter real quick? Where is he?
Hi, Peter.
There he is. He's got his personal avatar. Yeah. Hey, some shit happened family wise, so that's why I have not reached out to you yet about that.
No problem at all. I mean, when I make an offer, my offer will stand. There's no time limit to it. It's no problem. I've got enough on my plate as it is, so it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, the earliest we're shooting for to have the new channel up and running would be at the beginning of March. So, it's not anything that needs to be done real quick anyway. So,
but just keep in mind, the more time that I have,
right,
the more time I have to work on it.
Awesome. But I will sometime in the near future reach out to you so that we can go into Discord or something, and I can give you my concept, and you can let me know whether it's doable or not and all that.
Okay. I just wanted to jump in real quick because I saw what just happened, and I may have a solution. Not sure, but I may have. So,
take Leo and John out and shoot him.
No. I like Leo. He knows that. I've told him he's my favorite angry counter apologist. But here's the thing. if you're in a room, I consider it coming on someone's channel is that you're in their house, in their room. So you need to abide by the rules that are there. And as much as I laughed when Leo did that, you need to keep in mind, Leo, it's not your room. So maybe calm down just a little bit.
I was calm the whole time.
You are calm, but what you're doing to someone, it isn't really helping. It's blowing up the conversation. And I mean, I disagree with Ontological pretty much as much as you do. I think he's dishonest at the best of times, but it's better to expose that than talk over him and not let him talk.
It's hard to, Joe. You know, it's so hard.
It is. It's not something that I've acquired. If you go back and see how I dealt with things when I started out, I was pretty much. There's a show that I did where I could be Leo. It's exactly the same thing.
I mean, the thing is, somebody's got to mute.
Who the fuck is doing that?
So here's the thing that's kind of like so fucking like hypocritical or stupid of me is like, so I'm doing the same thing, you know, when it comes to Tangelo, and I'm like trying to rationalize it. But then if anybody who's here has been over on Rage's channel where I'm often the moderator, I don't tolerate that shit. People get muted all the time, and you know, and I can throw the dad voice in there and get things under control. And then I come to Speed's channel and do the very things I don't like to happen on my own channel. And, you know, and then so I think it's important. He didn't leave it up very long, but Speed had just posted in the chat. Leo is a backbone of this channel, and
I agree. And so for people who have seen me on Jesus is Lord's channel, I'm very different when I'm there because and when I'm over there, I'm pretty much Leo on steroids. So I'm not saying that I'm not guilty of it too, but yeah. I think if the best thing would be to establish what you want and don't want to happen on a channel, and that.
I mean, we've tried to get a hold of this, you know, very thing, and Speed is a man who knows his limitations, and you know, he often isn't forceful enough to get in there, and he started just recently where, like, if he, you know, wants to jump in and somebody won't shut up, he'll just pop him backstage so that you can't hear him.
The Skylar Fiction method.
Yeah,
like, John, you and Leo are, you know, my friends, and you're very important to this channel. And what you do is you put me in a position of bias where I have to bias, and I muted Ontological instead of Leo because I didn't want to insult Leo, right? Mm-hmm. And so you guys put me in a moral bind when you do that, when you don't behave on my channel. Please don't do that to me. So
I think that can be easily solved. So I've known Leo for not too long yet, but I think that when it comes to being friends, I don't think that he would mind that if things are handled equally. I don't see a problem there.
He said as much just a few minutes ago, actually. You know.
Yeah, well, and if there would be, that is something that you can handle off air.
I have to go. Could I speak before I go, or should I just go?
Do you have like a job, Dak? Like a real job?
I've got more than one, actually, and it's because I'm an actor. You know, it's I get it when I get it, and right now I'm just really busy. I wanted to help out with the supernatural thing. Can I say a few things quick before I go, or
sure?
Go ahead. Okay. First up, the prefix "super" means above and beyond. This meaning of super of being like more powerful or out of reach or imaginary but not really imaginary. That's all stuff that's been added, and it's mostly religions have done that because they wanted to hide their God, is what it really comes down to. Science is not excluding the supernatural. There just isn't any way for it to be included. They would if they could. There are a lot of scientists that are also theists, and they'd very much love to study the supernatural scientifically if they could just find a way. So people, theists have to stop blaming science for not studying what religions have defined as not scientifically studyable. Science before there was such a thing as a scientist, there was such a thing as a naturalist. What is now scientists did exist back then, and they were just called naturalists. They were a subset of naturalists, those who used methodology to do their study of nature were methodological naturalists. So I mean, this whole idea that the supernatural is being excluded by science is completely ridiculous. As a matter of fact, if not for religions contorting the use of the word supernatural, we would probably use supernatural to mean the same thing as we mean by artificial, meaning not the world as we found it, which is nature, but things that we humans added to it. Because that is above and beyond nature as we found nature. Now, it's still nature. We're part of nature, but it's above and beyond the nature that we found, the nature that we were born into. Born, by the way, being where the word nature comes from in the first place. That is a reference to what we were born into. If we take nature to be what we as individuals were born into, we were born into a world that has humans. Humans are natural. If we take nature as being what humanity was born into, then anything that predates humanity is natural. It's a question of where you draw that line. So I'm going to get out of here. Thank you for letting me say a few things. I appreciate it. I'm trying to listen as much as I can. Just really swamped right now. Thank you.
So the thing about that is, if we were to find a population of insects that suddenly was created out in the woods, created kind, that would be the most earth-shaking science ever, and every scientist, every biologist that there is would pay attention to that, and we would jump on that shit. The problem is that we cannot find any current occurrences of supernatural or magic, and until we do, we're not going to fucking address it, and we're not going to think that it had if suddenly I found my car appeared and disappeared in front of my eyes, then I would consider that when I went out in my garage and I found my car wasn't there. But until that happens, when I go out in my garage and find my car isn't there, I'm going to call the fucking police and report it stolen by a human being, right? I'm not going to consider ID until I have evidence of it.
Well, and I would also suggest that if your car ever disappears and reappears in front of your eyes, that you go and get an MRI.
Well, that did happen on PCP a couple times.
Oh, okay.
That was a bitch. It was so hard to drive it.
Well, I can still add something to everything. I think you just put up the comment that someone made. I think it was CRISPR. I don't remember. That Ontological pretty much dug his own grave when he said, "I don't need an explanation for the explanation," and therefore abiogenesis is the explanation. You do not need an explanation on how abiogenesis works. So, and that's something that I've learned over time, and I've learned that by watching other people deal with stuff. If you let people finish, they will pretty much dig their own grave because they're bound to. They don't have any actual science. They don't have methods, so they will at some point will just give you all the tools you need to demolish their point of view.
Well, and everything you said, I +1 on all that. But when it comes to actually what happened, what I think it was is that Leo made a point which was a furthering of the subject at hand. And then Ontangelo said, I don't need an explanation of the explanation. And I think he was referring to what Leo had just said, which was not an explanation of the explanation. It wasn't a repeating of anything.
And to be fair, it also doesn't help that Ontangelo seems to have adopted Darth Dawkins' method with screaming, "Can I finish? Can I finish? Can I finish?" That doesn't help either. That's just aggravating
Peter,
people.
you're over talking me, Peter. You're over talking me, Peter.
That was.
Can I finish? Can I finish, Leo? Leo, can I finish, please?
Can I say something?
Which is why I started doing what I did.
That was the point where I put him in the back room when he kept repeating the same phrase over and over again in a Darth Dawkins sort of. So.
I mean, things can get heated, and there's nothing wrong with a conversation getting heated. But some things I consider trolling, and if you're going to just yell the same sentence over and over and over again, I consider that trolling. So that's in defense of Leo getting mad at someone doing that, because I think that would have had the same effect on me if you're going to be a 5-year-old wanting to speak, I'm not going to let you. So there's that as well. It's I think it's a case by case thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, guys, I'm gonna head out, get something to eat, and I'll be in the chat for now. So
yeah, we got to wrap up in about 10. Yeah, thanks, Andrew. We got to wrap up in about 10 minutes. Anyway, I've got to schedule a stream. I'm going to be running a stream where Danny and I talked. Danny and I looked at his argument against naturalism, and so we're going to be premiering that, I think, at 5 p.m. So
yeah,
5 p.m. Central.
Maybe 6. Yeah, Central time zone is the only zone. It's the center of the universe. Keep telling you. What do I have to keep saying?
I would agree with you, but it's Central European time.
You see, them's fighting words.
If you're European, then make sure you took your pants down first.
So, Speed, what did you think? What are your opinions on his argument against naturalism?
I found it to be very weak and very disconnected, and
I would say the word you wanted to use there was disjointed.
It was disjointed.
I would say I haven't noticed an argument. He disagreed with someone else's argument. That's not making an argument.
Oh, we're talking about Danny.
Okay. Yeah, I thought.
Yeah, Danny's he was our resident philosopher, but I fired him on Saturday night, and he rage quit. No, he didn't rage quit. He got put in the back room. Anyway, Danny has an argument against naturalism, and it involves prescriptive, descriptive, is-ought distinctions. And the way he put out the argument, I thought it was a very, very bad logical form as an argument. And,
well, I mean,
I don't know.
Just to comment on what you said, presumably, from my observations, Danny has an argument against literally anything.
Yeah,
and he's pedantic as hell. Also, Leo, I'm gonna agree with CRISPR here. Like, you said a correct thing, but you didn't correct Ontological.
That's called correcting somebody.
Kill me now.
Okay, guys, talk for a minute because I'm going to be a little distracted. I'm going to try to set up that stream.
Wait, is this a stream or a premiere?
Premiere.
Oh, okay.
Premiere. So
Did you see how Ontangelo slipped in operational versus historical science into his discussion? Almost trying to normalize it. Yeah. Well, it ain't normal, boy.
Yeah.
Because science, no matter what time frame you're referencing, right?
At times it's just frustrating talking to creationists because of their lack of knowledge of science.
Okay, I find myself.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Midnight.
I just said I find myself agreeing more with CRISPR than Leo in this.
So, Peter, were you here for most of the stream?
I think for about an hour or so. I was working on stuff,
Did
and
you
then
hear when I took my attempt, my expert idea of what unfalsifiable was, and I used the example of being asked to prove that no God exists, and then like Danny just, well, no, that's not right, and then just goes on to say some things were right. I mean, as far as falsifiability goes, but he never really addressed what I had actually said. But he started when he jumped in, he started with, "Well, that's not right." What I had said.
No, I must have missed that part, so I have to go back and watch that part. And I think I when I came in, it was you guys talking to Ontological about methodological naturalism. It was at the time where there was Photoshop on screen for a lot of the time.
Oh, and Nathan was working on his picture of Danny. Oh, Danny boy.
Yeah. Oh.
No, he spent most of it working on his picture of you with Amelia Clark sitting on your shoulder.
I guess I didn't see that one.
Oh, you didn't catch that? He drew you.
It's pretty good. Put it up there, Nathan, if you don't mind.
I wasn't sure what the thing on your shoulder, or who the person on your shoulder was supposed to be, but now it makes sense.
Is it at all possible that Ontological sees an intelligent designer as not supernatural? Because that almost seemed like where he was going when Speed started to question him on it.
No,
that's like saying, is God supernatural? Because that's what he means, God. They're just lying when they say they don't mean God by intelligent design.
Yeah, they don't want to admit that they're talking about God or something supernatural, so they always use that ID shit, and that's historical. They had to do that in order to try to get ID by the courts, and that's why they did all that shit. So,
well, that's why they recalled it or renamed it ID versus creation, because ID is still creation.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing is, if you call it intelligent design, how do you go from intelligent design to the only intelligent designer it could be is this God over here that I like?
Yeah, that's a leap you can't make. You can't justify.
Well,
that's pretty cool pick.
That's the interesting thing to me is that, and Speed called him out on it. He said you can say intelligent design, but it's still supernatural. And Ontological hesitated, like an intelligent designer wasn't supernatural, and I'm just wondering how.
Oh, that would be great.
How does he connect the dots in his brain? Is what
I don't know how he does it in his brain, but there's the possibility it could be an intelligent designer that is not supernatural.
Yeah, but that would rule out his God.
Well,
yeah,
right.
So
I'm
that
saying,
would,
okay. I see what you're saying, John. Yeah.
Like there could have been another.
It's interesting. I just was wondering where his.
Yeah, he would never propose that. Yeah, he would never. But it could be that there was a universe before this in which some beings lived, and through whatever science that they have, they were able to, initiate the Big Bang and create all of us. I mean, I don't know.
I do want to say really quickly to Nathan, I like how you captured the fact that Amelia has a big ass head. Because she does. So let's be honest, she
has a forehead.
So Nathan, is Danny's picture ready? Can I clip that out and use it for today's show, for the premiere, or do you want to send me a clipped out version?
I wanted to mess with Leo and ask
I'll send you
the one on his shoulder is called Chip.
Chip. Well, it's so I just have to say that drawing of Leo looks better than Leo's ever looked in real life.
It does. I was literally just about to say it. I was like, I don't know. Is that's got to be me? And I don't know. Maybe the Everettian model is correct, and that's me on some different timeline.
But notice the dead, soulless atheist eyes. That's what every believer thinks we are.
Oh, and I never noticed how sexy Leo's lips are until just now.
But let me show you some drawings for Black History Month that I've done. All right, so I like to honor our fallen Black heroes. We have R. Kelly.
And I like how you can, because it's only an upper body shot, how you can just imagine that he's pissing out.
We have Bill Cosby.
Bill Cosby.
Grab him by the
Literally fallen. Okay.
Let me get some pudding pop. That's what I said when he got convicted and went to prison. He walked into the cell, and the cellie said to him, "Hey, you want some pudding pops?"
We have a quick drawing of O.J. Simpson, another Black hero that's fallen. Black History Month, you know.
OJ has let himself go a little.
Yeah. And you guys probably don't know her. This is
I knew
Corinne
that.
Stefan.
Oh,
Who?
Corinne Stefan. Her name is.
I thought it
They
was.
call
I
it-
thought it was. What's her name? The right wing.
Oh, Candace Owens.
From LA. Oh,
What is it?
Candace
Candace
Owens.
Owens.
Candace Owens. That's who I thought.
No, not Candace.
She's. I don't even know what the fuck she is.
Maybe else.
Is that it? Oh, what's this?
Mr. Danny himself.
I'm blue. Da boo dee da boo da da boo dee da boo da. Sorry.
Yeah, and that's it.
So I did want to ask a quick question, Nathan. When you drew the picture of me and Amelia, did you do that from memory or were you working from pictures?
No, I did work for pictures.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say because
Leo,
Say
that
no,
was
Nate,
from memory.
Nate,
Holy shit!
Leo,
what is the link to your site
the
again?
song you just sang, was that a clue? Because there is a video somewhere online that is that song and it has me dancing.
Oh, I didn't know that. I just know the song.
I'm very glad no one knows where that is.
Leo.
I feel like Peter's just messing with you.
Leo had a raging clue.
I have no clue who made that, but I've seen it.
I have such a clue.
Nathan, don't you have you have a site, right? And I had a link to it at one time, right? Or did you?
Oh yeah, it's my Instagram. I'll put it in chat.
Okay, put it in chat. So I can put it in there.
Anyways, good night, everybody. It's 5:00.
Yeah, it's boomer o'clock here.
I still have one more question for Nathan.
Okay.
Are you planning on colorizing that photo of me?
I was just gonna keep it like a sketch. But
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, he'll give you $20 for actually. No,
The
never
only
mind.
reason I was gonna ask is because if you were gonna colorize it, I was probably gonna use it as a profile pic on like Facebook and Twitter.
I mean, how much are you gonna pay him for it?
Hold the door. Hold the door for me to go outside. But I don't want to let you out. Oh, sorry, guys.
I thought you were talking to me.
Yeah, go to the door. Go to the door, speak.
Okay. Okay. Okay, it's out there.
Don't get eaten by the raccoon.
Want to chase the ball, Speed? Want to chase the ball?
Okay, I'm gone.
What is
Okay.
even going on in this stream?
Okay.
I don't know.
I don't know. I thought you said goodnight. Why
Yeah,
the
we're
fuck
gonna end
are you here?
it. Yeah, fucking.
No, I thought this. Never mind.
Okay, we're gonna end the broadcast for today. That was pretty good. Gotta do a lot of things. So, anyway, how should I end the broadcast, Leo?
And remember, people, science may not have all the answers, but religion has none of them.
Okay, goodbye,
There you
guys.
go.
Bye bye.